we go. Debate question is: do the benefits of internet surveillance or surveillance in general outweigh the harms, particularly in relation to individual liberties like privacy? So we'll start with this team. Sean?
Well, you don't have Danilo, maybe we should skip that.
Yes, sir. I think Danilo is the most valuable debater. Last year was Andre.
Oh?
Okay, guys. Whenever you're ready, Sean.
Sorry, this is a bit distracting.
Okay, if you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. It's just there if you want to.
I don't use it, but
You might have to put one hand on it.
I'll
Just hold it. Put tape.
What's the date?
It's fine, just hold it. Just
Okay, let's go, guys.
Oh, it's recording.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, my fellow classmates. Thank you very much for gathering here today. You guys are all much appreciated. We're here to discuss about government's surveillance today. Firstly, I'd like you to ask one question for three of you. Do you think privacy should be valued more than safety? Our safety, or safety should be valued more than your privacy? If you said privacy should be valued more, you probably are an ignorant fool. Because there's nothing more important than the security of your family, friends, and loved ones, your girlfriends, whatever. So our thesis is basically surveillance by the government outweighs the lack of privacy. We believe that safety values much more than privacy, and government surveillance is keeping us safe from all the possible malicious harms that could happen to all of us without their surveillance. Moreover, according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Maslow was the psychologist in the 80s. So this is the basic needs of our lives. So this is from the bottom is the most important to the less important to the top. So the bottom is the physiological needs, which is breathing, food, water, sex. These are human basic needs. And then next it comes to safety. This is the security of our body, employment, life, resources, all these things. And then privacy is actually ranked as a self-actualization, which is the first, like the least needed to our daily lives. So you guys are saying privacy is more important than our safety, which is ranked a lot way less than our safety. Therefore, you guys are either ignoring or lacking the basic instinct as human beings. Furthermore, privacy only makes us feel secure. However, it does not protect us truly. Some of you might believe in the worthless conspiracy of government spying on us, but all they do is just to keep us safe and protect us from the issues, such as terrorism.
I'm going to turn it over to person one.
Did you like it?
So first of all, I would like to ask you all your question. Do you feel safe now? Well, I'm assuming the answer will be yes, because you are living in Switzerland. But if you are asking an American person, so do you feel safe? And I think the chances are they will also feel safe. Why? Because maybe the general people they are good. Although America has violent crime, terrorist attacks, and guns, and surely there are bad people in the world, but with or without being watched by the government, bad people can and will always drink. So just turn on the news if you think I'm wrong. Do you remember what happened in Kunming a few years ago? Some people was killed by cold-blooded by knife wielding lunatics. And if you think government surveillance are so effective, then why those kind of things are still happening? So our team thinks it's time to stop the government surveillance, and it's useless and has several drawbacks. So the government surveillance makes terrorists smarter and our lives harder. Picture this: if you are doing a project in English class on ISIS, and you are searching for how they use propaganda for recruiting, and seconds later the government backs you as a potential threat, and just because of you put in the key term and you searched about it. And is that fair? Are you a terrorist? The answer, of course, would be no. But you are labeled as one. How do you feel? Terrorists usually never search those kind of information online openly. But you, the average citizen, are caught in the trap because of the government surveillance. So it is not a single internet. This is not a single internet research can give us into serious trouble. What if we are acting or looking suspicious? What does that mean? It means someone watching in camera thinks we are different, and we could be a potential threat. We didn't fit into a perfect model, and how we are a suspect, and maybe we didn't do anything wrong. Is that fair? And I don't think so. It's a blatant discrimination. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Greg. All right, let's open it up for question and answer. We'll start with Vlad's team here. We'll give you 2 minutes to pose questions
Yo,
to the other team, and then allow them to elaborate on response. Okay.
we have a question.
So who's asking?
Go for it.
Me.
This team, Sean, go ahead.
You said something like the knife,
No, someone was killed.
See, someone was killed, and
Yeah,
you said
sure.
like the survive. Wait.
If you don't remember, what would you ask?
No, so he said
I mean, there's
surveillance
still
is
crime.
not helping us, right? You said surveillance is not protecting us. But if we get rid of this surveillance, we would have more incidents.
So what's your question?
More instances, so I'm just saying. No, I'm not questioning this more.
That's the thing, you have to ask a question. Okay. Go
I'm
ahead.
saying, like,
Okay, you use, I feel like you use anecdotal example without providing statistics. How do you justify using just one example of the knife thing, someone being killed, and not mention anything about how many cases were prevented due to surveillance?
First of all, his job is not to provide statistics. Statistics
well,
are
he did.
provided by me.
He did. What did you do? Why did you do that then?
I'm just saying the
Prove it
government
only.
surveillance is not so effective.
And you using one example.
Yeah, and we have statistics.
Don't worry, everything. Patience.
Wait for it. It's coming.
Wait for it.
Wait.
Okay, then also another question you used, you said if we search for ISIS online, we're labeled as terrorists. Okay, even if, let's assume if we are labeled, why would you feel threatened, or why would you feel like it doesn't affect your life in any way? No one is.
It does when you
Well,
get
I
it.
label you as a potential threat to social security. Do you feel comfortable with that?
No, like, but if you, what literally said, when you do a project for English and type in ISIS into Google, you're labeled as terrorist.
No.
Is that what
if
you
you are if you are doing like how they use propaganda to those kind of things, and you are labeled and.
I gotta change teams, so I'll give our team a chance to pose a question. 2 minutes.
Sure. Does government surveillance really equal to our safety?
Wait, what?
Does it mean like if they have the government surveillance, we are 100% safe?
No, but it's gonna keep us safer and make us safer, right?
Well, how do you prove that?
How do I from that with statistics? Wait for it.
Touche.
How would you discuss or argue about this being a human right that it's being violated?
Well, would you rather die or
That was fine.
would you die or
But still,
be
people are
safe?
dying in front of the cameras. And I will give you an
Oh,
example.
that's too bad.
But actually, the
surveillance
government-
decreases the
There will be more
Well,
people
that's your
dying.
argument. That's your argument. Well, we said statistics, okay? Wait for it.
Thank you.
Anything else?
What is that name doing?
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on for the sake of time. So I'll turn it back to team one. To
It's time to shine.
Then it's not like going to videos or something. Like, you're wasting dust on basic stuff. Like, oh, I bought these on your seats. You go with it.
Look there, let's go.
you gonna, do you want to speak while you show that, or do you want
I was speaking.
to? Okay.
Speak English.
Can you put the screen down just a little bit?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, imagine that you're dead. No, your privacy is not important anymore, right? So now I'm going to continue my group's position that surveillance outweighs the lack of privacy. So we understand that privacy is really important and it makes us feel safe and free at the same time because it's our human right. But the thing about privacy is that it keeps us outside from other sleuths, but it does not protect us. Even though that surveillance allows government to keep tracking us all the time and not spy on us, like snoop on us, and it can violate our privacy. It allows government to take care of us as well. It does not mean that government will keep track of you if you're an ordinary person. They won't waste their time on that, on snooping on you. They will look after terrorists and criminals. But you have to understand that even though that if the government would stop surveillance, the conspiracies would still keep on happening because it was happening in the past, it is still happening, and it will keep on happening in the future. What is really important, and you have to understand that you are the one who controls your privacy. That affects only you. But you cannot control terrorist attacks that might harm thousands, including you, your children, your family. Once again, imagine that your entire family is dead. Who cares about their privacy now?
Oh, we don't need privacy.
You go with it.
Let's turn it over to do you want to assume you read a speech really quickly, someone from his life?
I can read.
You know, but,
You go. You can just read it from
I think I have to put complete my laptop.
I did that.
Was it a statistical approach? You did
No, it's
Emotion? Okay, so good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Surveillance is everywhere, from the street corner cameras to the subject of books and movies. We talk a lot about why surveillance is bad, but we don't really know why. First, we must recognize that surveillance transcends the public-private public-private divide. One of the core arguments against surveillance is that it poses a threat to privacy, which is the value of each person. This raises a number of questions about privacy. I can assume that most of us don't even think about our security when we are using the internet and other networks. Imagine for a moment if all of your digital data would be recorded and analyzed, and you won't have any privacy in your life, no secrets. Would it be easier for you to live in such a complicated world? I don't think so. Most of the people get angry when someone is just looking on your cell phone screen, when you're texting to someone. All people are willing to have some privacy as it is an important part of our life. But at this time, technologies develop weaker and our privacy becomes weaker. You have to understand the consequences of any type of surveillance. We need a strong protection for ourselves. We need to realize how our personal information tends to change quickly and unpredictably. And most of this information appears to be unprotected and left behind for no reason. I assume that all of you aware of Edward Snowden and Julian Assange, who leaked an enormous amount of secret documents from Central Intelligence Agency. What if it would be your personal information that can be used in someone's business conspiracies, or even in the criminal ways? Wouldn't it bother you? There is no specific protection from leaked information and censorship. And censorship makes it harder as the amount of information increases faster and faster every day. People think of our own safety.
Thank you, Team 1. Okay, I'll turn it over to Team 1 here. 2 minutes for questioning, and so again, try to pose a question, which then allow them to respond. You can refer to general ideas or specific things that were mentioned in speeches.
But I think in the speech there was that like your personal information can be used for criminal actions or whatever, like how my Facebook history or call to my mother or text to Daniel be used in any criminal thing. But you know, like if it's monitored, why wouldn't I want it to get monitored, you know, so the terrorists get caught?
I will tell you something. In Mexico, there was this case about really rich guy and whose, I don't know, his dad was someone from the government, really important and really powerful. And he was kidnapped because they were tracking him by Facebook. Because he was posting, like, I'm here, like, this is what I usually do. These are the places I'm going to visit. And that information, they're taking it for criminal activities. They kidnapped him and then they killed him.
But it's not surveillance. Like it's not normal surveillance.
But they take the technology from because it was from a government institution.
Well, you should have maybe done that.
You know, people hack internet and they check everything. They can connect to government.
Well, not only that, the corruption. Like many of the police officers, or maybe many of the CIAs, they're like involved in criminal activities because they get better money with that.
I gotta turn it over to Team 2. So Team 2, would you like to pose a question?
Would you like to have a camera in your bedroom, and in order to avoid maybe heart attack, that kind of thing?
Avoid what?
Do you want to have a camera in your room, in your bedroom, to avoid the heart attack?
That's illegal. To have a camera.
If I were in danger of a heart attack, I would.
No, if it's just like, just right now, would you like one? Would you like one camera to?
That's
to
what
avoid
the
that?
camera around there.
Yeah, would you like to have a camera in your bedroom?
No,
Yeah, that's why I like surveillance.
No, at the same time, I know that, like, for example, my friends in Germany, they put like a stick on they put a stick on their laptop camera because just to keep them like.
Yeah, that's why everyone like wants their privacy.
What about the dormitories? Like in the halls of the dorms. The dormitories.
Yeah, that's okay because it's a partial privacy. But
No.
if it's
It is not.
well, no, I mean,
You will
No, but if you forgot your t-shirt in the back bed, you just go for it. And there are people saying, no. Or in your PJs, like you don't want
I think we just converted Haki to our side.
You think
Haki, look at this. It's nice.
Shall we move on?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Let's
let's
do one
move
more
on.
question and answer. Let's go ahead. Person 3. Person 3.
Go.
Who's person 4?
Nah.
Steve.
Ciao.
If you are dead, you can't be private. Think about it. As weird as it might sound, it has a lot of truth to it. And I understand, all the concerns, how privacy is important, and our everyday lives. We all live in Switzerland, all nice, with ponies and rainbows and stuff. Of course, privacy is important. But if there was an actual threat of terrorist attack, let's say there is, I would honestly I would trade all the private information I have in the world, to save a couple of lives. I would honestly, if you had a choice to share your emails, Facebook history, and I don't know, and a couple of calls to your parents, to trade for several hundred lives, I think any of us would do it. Any human being would do it. And actually, according to President Obama last year, who gave a speech on the anniversary of September 11th, the huge the terrorist attack by Al Qaeda. He said that since then, 54 cases were prevented due to government surveillance. So that's 54 cases, and it might not seem as much, but if you think about what one case did in Paris, just this last year, how many people were injured and killed, 54 cases is a lot. And I honestly think that it's worth to give out a bit of your privacy, a bit of your life, whatever you might call it, to save human beings. And there was a huge scandal when Edward Snowden came out with the information. How US was spying on their citizens. But even though he came out with that information, he had zero proof that they were using it in any other ways than for safety and national security. So I can't stress enough. If me personally, and I think all of you, if you could trade some of your private information for a person's life, I think all of us would do it. And statistics show that surveillance actually works. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move over to questions 3 on this one.
What's more is it? Maybe more.
So, as you might guess, I'm going to present our point of view with a statistical approach. So, first of all, I would like to mention the fact that in 2011, in the United Kingdom, which is one of the most advanced countries for its use in surveillance cameras, 1.9 million cameras were counted, meaning that 1 of every 32 persons of UK citizens are being watched. Doesn't this fact bother you? And everything you do is recorded. Isn't it the first step to freedom? Moreover, according to industry estimates, the market of global video surveillance has grown from $11.5 billion in 2008 to $37.7 billion in 2015. What if this money was to go to as a microfinance aid to developing countries, to people who actually need some money? Don't you think it's more useful to spend money in developing countries? Lots of people are still mentioning that having cameras will prevent a lot of crimes. However, it seems that you don't understand that the crimes are unstoppable If they were planned to be committed, no cameras could prevent them. Taking into account this fact, hopefully it will bring to you some ideas. Some ideas about the cameras invading your space, private space. So here is a situation which happened in New York. So a normal random man got stabbed, and he was left to die in front of 3 surveillance cameras. It took the ambulance 2 hours to arrive to the injured man. He thus died before getting to the hospital. The surveillance cameras did nothing to help the man, and are a waste of your people's money, as you're paying by tax, you know? Having presented all of you with a variety of facts, I hope you change your point of view.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Let's go on and just finish up the last 2 parts, and then we'll finish with the questions. So, Gina and Aramsa.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
Like with this said, privacy makes you feel safe, to some extent. But how can you feel safe without being protected? Privacy does not protect you. If you have nothing to hide, then you should not be afraid of the government snooping in your privacy. And as like Vlad said, if you're dead, you cannot be private. And it reduced 54 cases of terrorism in the United States. And by not having surveillance could cause even more horrific events. And we as a team agree that surveillance is more important than privacy. To protect its citizens, the government has not only the right, but also the responsibility to know what's going on within their country. The basic job of the government is to make sure that all its citizens are safe, because no government wants its citizens to live in fear within their society. If something threatens a country, the people will blame the government for not trying its hardest, or even blaming it for not even giving them an advance in what's happening. How would you feel if your parents or families were under attack, and you had the reason to believe that the government had the tools to stop this, but didn't because of so-called snooping on people's privacy? It is not censorship to outlaw mentioning ISIS or other dangerous terrorist groups by talking to a friend on social media. But there must be certain levels of transparency so that the government can do its job. Don't you want your government to do all that it can to protect you and your families? Don't you think that it is more important to feel secure and safe than what you can or cannot post on Facebook? Thank you.
Take us home.
As our team stated, we consider privacy to be more important than national security. Privacy is freedom, and if they take away our privacy, they're taking away our freedom. We have the right to privacy. The governments around the world are contradicting their constitutions. The more someone knows about us, the more power they can have over us. And by giving the governments our right to privacy, we're giving them the power to get into our lives. Yes, it is true that surveillance might help the government keep track of the criminal activity, but multiple times they have accused innocent people because of their erroneous judgment. Not only the wrong implementation of the surveillance has caused innocent people to be struggling for something that didn't correspond them, but also there have been many cases where their surveillance techniques have failed, and even worse, it has the criminals have become stronger because of it. Privacy is about respecting individuals. If a person has a reasonable desire to keep something private, it is respectful to ignore this person's wishes without compelling to do so. How we are judged by others affects our opportunities, friendships, and overall well-being. Privacy is key to freedom of thought. A watchful eye over everything we read or watch can shield us from exploring ideas outside the mainstream. By limiting our privacy, they're also limiting our freedom of expression and our critical thinking. So, is it fair to support this contradiction? Support a violation of the human rights?
Okay, guys, I'll open it up for anybody to go ahead.
I have a question. But don't you guys think without having surveillance, it's like an extra wall of reinforcement? So maybe it doesn't work all the time, but it's better than not having that wall of protection.
Well, if it's harming our privacy, I don't know.
Question for both. You said as an example the year of surveillance, you said ambulance steering company.
Yeah.
Like earlier, but they call it ambulance. Surveillance.
But the cameras, you're saying the cameras are in order to prevent like
It's one of
crimes,
it's not, yes, but it's not preventing crime.
Okay, but if the cameras are there, like the people should see what is going on the streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the person got stopped, and he left to die like.
Well, that's not what
Where are they?
usually it works, you know.
What are the
It
cameras?
doesn't, it never, like, it's not frequent.
Well, maybe
you know.
it might work in the short term, but on the long run, because the terrorists they are getting smarter. They're not more like they are texting to each other as if rather than doing a crime each time. After they got caught, they'll be smarter.
So what do you propose? What is better? Just
Didn't you watch Quantico? Quantico. Yeah, it's like this TV show where there's like infiltrated people in the FBI. So they plan terrorist attacks due to No, but it's real. They have infiltrations in the FBI and the CIA.
Yeah. That's a good question. You said like based on some statistics, but what statistics? I didn't.
statistic is Barack Obama. He used like documented cases, you know, for national security. 54 cases since September 11th were prevented. 54 terrorist attacks due to surveillance.
But what was he 100% sure that it's going to be a terrorist attack? Because sometimes
Even if
people
he
are
was
just
half percent sure, like, remember what happened in Paris? That was just one terrorist attack. It was just one. It was 54. Even if he was like 1/3 sure, 1/4, 1/5, that's still a lot of terrorist
But it
attacks.
can be liable. Okay, I can say, oh my god, I have a samurai in my garden, I created so many dogs, you know? And how are you going to do it?
So if you see a possibility of terrorism, you just ignore it because it might not be true.
Don't you think they could use like the money from our taxes for other more important stuff than surveillance?
People who
Then saving us from terrorist attacks.
Feeding your country.
Goes to corruption, you know.
Let's ask a question.
I have to ask you that statement that like because like they use surveillance to track terrorists after Paris attacks, like you know, and instead of from the other attacks that are happening here.
But they have surveillance, and the attack still happens.
But it's not like further attacks.
Like I'm kind of
Well, I have a question. It was saying that lives are Verse is saying like life, our human life is more valuable than anything else. Then why would we should fight for our human rights, like the Second World War?
Why?
What?
If you are saying life is so important, then how would we Why don't you?
Let's go. Nothing.